Today we're looking into one of the most effective and easiest ways to spice up your phrasing and make it more tasteful and refined. We will be adding grace notes to our melodies. Grace note is an embellishment and an ornament to the main note that you play and is melodically and harmonically non-essential. We will be using song Summertime for our grace note practice. So let's start with the first phrase. So the grace note comes before the note, and on the guitar there are a couple of ways of playing it. One of them would be to use slide. So we slide from the 6th fret and slide into the 7th fret of the first string. Now the grace note happens really quickly just before the note. It's not a separate note on its own, as mentioned before. So it's not like it's... So as I said, one of the ways is to use a slide, or you can simply hammer on. Depending on the situation, you might want to use one or the other. So we slide from the 6th to the 7th on the first string, then 8th on the 2nd, and we finish on the 2 notes on the 7th fret of the first string. So the second phrase. So grace note can be played not only going up into the main note, but also going down. So in this case, we will slide from the 11th fret into the 10th. With the ring finger, preferably. Then 8th on the 2nd, back to 10. First fret on the, first string, 7th fret, with your first finger. Then back to the 8th with the middle finger on the 2nd. Third finger plays the 9th fret on the 3rd string. And then we do grace note on the 8th fret with the middle finger, sliding into the 9th fret of the 4th string. So again. Again. So the third phrase is really short. So when you have the same note repeated twice, as we have here, you have a multiple of options in terms of using grace notes. You can just do the first note, or just the second, or both, or actually none. It really is up to you. They all sound valid and they all sound good. It's just, what do you prefer? So again, just to break it down quickly. First string, 7th fret. So again, just to quickly break it down. First string, 7th fret. 8th fret on the 2nd string. And then pinky on the 10th fret on the 2nd string. So if I were to play a grace note on the 2nd note, then I would probably use the pinky for the first note and then ring finger sliding into it, because my ring finger is already there, already 1 fret below. It just makes it much easier to execute it. So the fourth phrase. Normally, if I were to play it without any grace notes, I would play this part like this. Same kind of position, not moving my hands too much. But since I'd like to use a grace note on that last note on the 7th fret, I will change the fingering to this. So I'm sliding to the 5th position, where my first finger is on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and I'm playing these 2 notes, 8th fret and 5th fret. So what I'm doing here, I'm sliding from the 6th fret to the 7th with my middle finger. Also, if you don't want to switch positions, if you want to stay in the same kind of area, you can just play 8th fret on the 2nd string and then 9th fret on the 3rd string. And then you can do the grace note going from the 8th fret, sliding down to the 7th fret. Then we have the same phrase again as the first one. And lastly, we have the finishing line of the song. We're starting the phrase with the 8th fret on the 4th string, sliding on the 9th, and we have 2 notes on that 9th fret, but I'm sliding on the first one, I'm doing the grace note on the first note. Then we have 7 on the 3rd, back to the 9 on the 4th, 7 again, and then sliding with my middle finger from the 8th fret to the 9th fret on the 3rd string. So, and then go land with the first finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. Then we do the slide again from the 11th fret to the 9th with your ring finger into the 10th, 8th fret, and we finish off with the slide into the 9th fret of the 3rd string. This one's a bit longer, but I'll play it for you slowly. A bit faster. Let's play the song in its entirety. 1, 2, 3. So this is one of the ways of adding grace notes to your playing. It's obviously your personal choice where you want to put them. You do want to avoid using them on every single note, obviously, because you're just going to lose the effect it would otherwise have. So grace notes can be not only half step away from the main note, but also a whole step or even 1.5 step away, even though it's not really common. So for example, for the whole tone, we slide from the 7th to the 8th fret. I mean, we can do it from 1.5, from the 6th fret to the 9th. It can work, but one step usually does the job. I personally found that grace notes work really well when they are not in the key or the scale that you play in. So for example, if I were to, let me just go back to the example, that little part of the song of the summertime, we go 8, 5, which are both notes in the key, and then we go from the 6th fret, which on its own will sound awful in an E minor key. But if we just slide into the note that's part of the key, part of the scale, then it sounds nice and it actually gives a little bit of spice to it, to that note. So grace notes can also be used in chords, which will definitely help to create a bit more movement, a bit more color to your part. It's really common in the kind of John Mayer sort of playing, and especially Jimi Hendrix. And the best example that I can give you of grace notes being used in chords is The Wind Cries Mary. If I were to play without grace notes, it sounds okay, but it doesn't have that character. Overall, I think grace notes are a great way to make your playing a bit more colorful, and it's so easy to implement it. At the beginning it might feel a bit daunting and a bit weird, once you get used to it, it's definitely gonna become part of your vocabulary. Hope this helps. If you got any questions, please leave them below. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.